Okay, we're going to talk about how to make a major scale, and we're going to demonstrate with a G major scale, and I'll do an A major scale also, just so you get the idea that what you're going to learn, like most things on the guitar, is transferable. So the first thing, let's talk about a chromatic scale in G, for instance. Chromatic scale just means every note on this fretboard. Play all of those 12 notes until you get to the repeat of the starting note. And that would be like this. I'm going to just use my fingers here so that you can see coming over the top of the guitar. That's a G note, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G. And you can hear, there we are, and you can hear that that's a scale, that is an arrangement of notes, and that is heading somewhere. But we generally remove some notes to make it sound more more like the Western music that you used to hearing. And how is that done? It's done with a simple formula: 2-2-1, 2-2-2-1, which works on any musical instrument. I hasten to add. Let's look. Excuse me. Let's look at what notes we skip to come up with that do re mi scale. Do re mi scale is 2. 2, that means I skip. When I say 2, that means I'm skipping this note. And then 1, which is the adjacent fret, and skip, 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 and repeat. So the major scale, instead of this chromatic scale that we played, don't be frightened by the term. That's just what's the term is for every note in each successive note until you get to a repeat of the starting note. That's a chromatic scale, in essence. And from that chromatic scale, we're going to drop a few notes and come up with 7 notes in a repeat rather than 12 notes in a repeat. So we skip, skip, don't skip, 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 don't skip. And that should sound to you like the do re mi scale, but of course playing it on one string like that is going to cut down on efficiency and certainly speed substantially. And so we have the guitar tuned where notes repeat on the fretboard, which enables us to play a scale down the strings rather than down the fretboard. And here is how a G major scale would be played. And I recommend that you practice this every day. Every time you pick up the guitar, just practice this to get your fingers moving and to get used to stretching your fingers out. And I'll talk a little about technique after we talk about where to put which finger and what. If you play a G major scale, you're going to put your middle finger on string 6 of the G note. And I, again, hasten to point out the value of learning what the notes are on string 6. If you learn the string 6 notes in standard tuning, you've also learned string 1, which means you now know 1/3 of the notes on the fretboard. That's a pretty good bargain, and you should buy into it and do it. Learn it, just learn it. The G note on string 6 is right here at fret 3. Here's an E, open, F, F sharp, G, and you put your middle finger there. Now that's going to put your index finger at fret 2, your middle finger at fret 3, your ring finger at fret 4, and your pinky at fret 5. They are going to be the 5 frets that you play for this scale. And each note that is played on fret 2, you're going to play with your index finger. Each note that's played on fret 3, you're going to play with your middle finger. Each note that you play on fret 4 with your ring finger, and each note on fret 5, you're going to play with your pinky. So, without further ado, put your middle finger, string 6, fret 3, pinky, string 6, fret 5, and then string 5, fret 2, string 5, fret 3, string 5, fret 5, string 4, fret 4, string 4, fret 2, excuse me, string 4, fret 2, string 4, fret 4, string 4, fret 5. And when you play that together, it sounds like the major scale. We're only going to take it down on these bottom 3 strings here, string 6, 5, and 4. So you're going to have, and you want to learn how to play that surely and securely. The 2 things to note, and 2 things that are very important. You'll note that my hand does not move. My fingers move, but my hand is solidly at this location. I'm not moving it like this up and down to get those notes. I'm stretching my fingers out to get those notes. That's very important. You want to concentrate on that. Sacrifice speed starting off so that you can do that. All right. Now, the other thing is to alternate your pick strokes. Down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. That's what you absolutely need to do to practice that and to build up speed. So that pattern, and it's very important to note also this pattern is one that can be played for any key, any chord that you want to play down here. The major scale of that chord will be played with that pattern. For instance, an A this is an A note on string 6, fret 5, and I would use the very same pattern to play a major scale. Think of that a while, and it will be pretty obvious and logical to you that that's the way that would work. It's not going to sound different just because you're starting at a different point, but you are playing different notes. And so you want to just practice this every day, every time you pick up a guitar, just go that. We'll talk about working our way backwards in another lesson and a class on Tuesday. So good luck with that, have fun with it, and get good and get sure with that.